Namaste. Addictions in DSM-5 are of two types: substance addictions and activity addictions. Gambling is one of the ancient activity addictions. It is an addiction that has destroyed thousands of lives and families worldwide and continues to do so even today. The person with gambling addiction can't stop himself from gambling and in the process destroys his life. It is among the swiftest of self destructive addictions. We will discuss today gambling disorder with our psychoanalysis consultant, Mr. Himanshu Vaidya. Namaste.
Namaste.
Mr. Vaidya, can we start with what gambling disorder is all about?
Addictive disorders are of different types related to substance addictions, activity addictions, space addictions, and so on. Gambling is a disorder of non-substance type addiction. So it is an addiction disorder, addiction of an activity, the activity of gambling. And we call it an addiction because the craving to do it is very intense. The inability to satisfy the craving results in unbearable psychological states, and satisfaction of this craving repeatedly uh, brings about distress and impairment to the person at personal level, interpersonal level, and in the area of occupation. And because of this distress and impairment and this inability to control this sort of an unnatural dependence and craving for gambling, we call gambling an addictive disorder.
In current times, we can see there's a lot of, technological things coming up, and a lot of youngsters are getting involved and indulging into gaming. How is it different from gambling disorder, the gaming disorder? Or is it the same?
They are near to each other but not the same.
Mm-hmm.
In gambling, we are referring to financial aspect being involved very strongly at the center of that repetitive activity. So it is not only entertainment, it has to do with money.
Mm-hmm.
Contrast with computer games where the center is entertainment and not money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you bring money into computer games, of course, it becomes another form of gambling. But as it is, computer games essentially are for entertainment, whereas gambling is essentially centered around money, although you can develop addiction related to either of them.
So, when we talk about the presentation of symptoms, what are the symptoms covered under the term gambling disorder?
First, there is a craving to gamble.
Mm.
Two, there is a repeated craving. Three, if the person is not able to do it, he feels highly distressed. Four, he often takes money from others to satisfy this craving. Five, there is impairment in personal, interpersonal, social, or occupational life. And six, he increasingly uh, gambles even more if he loses. There is a sort of a law of diminishing return that every time he gambles, he feels dissatisfied with the same amount of money. So he has to increase the amount of money spent. Seventh, he has often lied to others about his gambling. So all these are some of the features uh, which are the kind of diagnostic features of gambling disorder. DSM has a slightly longer list, but these are the main features of gambling disorder.
Hmm. So, when we go for the psychological explanation, what is the psychoanalytic explanation of causation of gambling disorder?
Psychoanalysis provides us a list of explanations why somebody should develop a gambling disorder?
Mm.
First, it can be very simple. It is just greed, that you need a lot of money and you need it quick, and therefore you do gambling. Second can refer to magical thinking and entitlement, that I should get money without having to work hard, without having to face the blows of life and reality. So I won't earn money the hard way, I should have it the easy way, and therefore it is just a combination of desire and laziness,
Mm.
and therefore you take the quick, easy way of gambling. That can be second. Third can be uh, you have seen it aspirational somewhere that the lucky people or the rich and the famous do it, and therefore you do it, and you also believe, like what you have seen and heard, you will make it big because you are entitled to do so.
Right.
And you also belong to that club. That can be the third. These are sort of social explanations with psychoanalytic basis, but still very easy to understand. Then there are more deeper and complicated explanations.
Mm-hmm.
One, gambling may be a way to uh, rob this world of its goodness. The goodness is the money. So it is the child robbing the good breast of its richness. So the whole world is seen as a good breast, and you want to rob the good breast of its goodness. And the goodness is the money you want to rob it of. Second deeper explanation is it can be a search for the good breast. And money is the good breast which can give you everything good that you want. It is like Kamdhenu, right? Or the Kalpavriksha, right? The good breast,
Right.
which has all the goodness of the world into itself. So you want that good breast for yourself. It can also be an attempt to overcome the destitution felt after object loss in early childhood. That the destitution is so annoying and so compulsive and so unbearable that you want to overcome that inner destitution by earning money outside. And this
Mm-hmm.
inner destitution was felt originally because of an object loss, loss of the good breast.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can have a motivation to please mother or father by earning lot of money and get their approval, their happiness, their sanction, and their admiration. It can also be an able fixation
Mm-hmm.
to hoard and collect money. It may just be too much of greed to have everything good in the world to oneself. It may be a narcissistic motive to enhance one's power, prestige, and be narcissistically better and more powerful than the others. It may be an attempt to regain the lost good mother and have for oneself the splendor of the good mother by buying everything that can provide splendor through money. It may also be an attempt to resolve the Oedipal triangle by money becoming a tool to get the lost mother. It may also be that not money is not the tool, but money is the lost mother. So it is a Oedipal fixation of the lost mother, right? Which is, not trying to uh, resolve the Oedipal loss by money, or it may be that by money you become powerful enough so that you are like the father who will be liked by the mother. So all these, apart from the social training, that money is the currency of social prestige, social acceptance, and pleasure and security. All these motivations can be behind gambling. So it depends upon what person we are looking at and what are his motivations. But all these motivations from a psychoanalytic standpoint can be the causation for the gambling addiction disorder.
That's quite a great explanation and simply put. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Vedya, when we talk about the healing part in psychoanalysis, how does psychoanalysis proceed with healing for persons suffering from gambling disorder?
Uh, Most of the people here uh, need a very short cohesion approach, and one can easily get into the interpretative approach very soon because they have a much better ego strength compared to those with some particular oral forms of addiction. So we can look here at a, in general, we can of course customize, but in general, at a short cohesion approach followed by a Freudian or a Kleinian or any other method of interpretative approach. In terms of duration, we'll be looking at uh, twice a week, 6 months, to twice a week, 2 years. In some cases, it may also go up to 3 years based upon what we are dealing with. And it may involve a lot of behavioral practice also, like in all addiction cases. That the behavioral practice has to complement what is happening in the session. And if one is more aware about what are the problems one faces in implementing the insights, what does not allow the person to implement the insight gained in the session, then in the next session or in other sessions, we can work upon those specific problems. So, behavioral complementing to psychoanalytic psychotherapy is very important uh, in gambling disorder. Support from family and other elements also will come in, which we can deal in the holistic healing area.
Right. So, coming to holistic healing frame, is there a way where holistic healing approach can actually help the person in healing of gambling disorder?
Very much so, because apart from the psychoanalytic psychotherapy, tools from CBT are very essential in this particular disorder
Okay.
to complement the psychoanalytic part. Yeah, because the behavioral element is very essential in all the addiction disorders and especially in gambling disorder. So CBT complementing or at least the BT part of CBT complementing psychoanalytic psychotherapy is essential for almost this whole of this chapter.
Right.
Specifically, uh, support from friends, support from family members, especially financial control of the family members is very essential because one of the elements of gambling disorder is availability of finance. And very soon the person runs out of his own money. So the financial control of family members and relatives is also very important. How they manage it, how much they give, at what frequency they give, what tantrum the man throws if he is not given. All those elements are very important in managing so that slowly the man can learn deferment of his impulse, ability to have insight in the face of impulse, and slowly overcome this addiction. It is also necessary to train the man to face difficult feelings and challenges during work because it can easily be an avoidance of the difficulties of reality where money making is tough and you want an easy money making route. So if you can make men strong enough, as Martin Buber used to say, strong enough to shoulder life. If that kind of strength can be given in general, and if we can temper down the quest for a ceaseless pleasure and bring that to a more reality situation where pleasure will be intermittently disrupted by pain. This is the natural human condition and we have to accept it. Then it accelerates the whole process. So uh, holistic healing in this particular area comprises of the financial control of the family members and friends, support by family members and friends, Reiki, pranic healing, yoga, pranayam, they also provide some sort of insight if you work systematically with those systems to detach oneself from one's impulse, be more relaxed, be more calm, and be and strengthen the positive aspect of oneself. So directly they may not have an impact, but indirectly by strengthening the positive spiritual aspect of oneself, connecting oneself to a good support group, and uh, allowing one the observational capacity to detach from the impulse and look at it with insight and slowly defer it and then master it.
Mhm.
All those elements of holistic healing become useful in complementing the psychoanalytic psychotherapy and CBT tools.
Yes, that in fact, if we see gambling, many people take it as a, on the surface, they think it is to do with entertainment. And once they're indulging into other holistic
Yeah.
approaches like yoga, music, dance, they're actually distracting their pleasure drive from something which they're fixated at. And they move on to other stuff and they do actually get a lot of relief and sense of satisfaction out there. So when we talk about
Yeah, because yeah, because it can start off as a sport and end as addiction.
hmm, that's quite an important point out here. Mr. Vaidya, we have seen mostly when people actually start off it like from because of the community pressure or peer pressure or just trying to explore something and they enter into the zone of addiction. It is so difficult to convince such people that this is to do with some kind of a pathology, to name it as a disorder. So, how important it is to make the person understand? How is patient education important here in this context of this disorder?
First is to make the person realize that this is an area where for every one person who wins, there are 100 people who lose. And the probability of success is less than 1%. And most people lose out in this process. So this is a minefield into which we should not step as prudent people. So we should look at the rule, not the exception. The rule is people lose everything. The exception is somebody gains into it.
Mhm.
It's 99 is to 1. Second is to reason with the person the cost benefit analysis of what price he has paid to make the addiction dystonic, ego dystonic, and allow the person to at least cognitively come to conclude that he has to distance and overcome this addiction. That is step one. And psychoeducation is very necessary for this. Two, uh, the person should be able to see what is actually causing him to do it. There again, psychoeducation comes in because it is not just something superficial. In many cases, there are deep roots of this addiction.
Mhm.
Three, the analysis and psychoeducation of at least at the minimum of what are the causes provides a list of do's and don'ts.
Mhm.
This list of do's and don'ts helps the person not aggravate it and control it.
Right.
And we keep away from precipitating factors so far as possible. Fourth, acceptance of life, that life is difficult and one has to face the blows and humiliation of life at the minimum, whatever it comes. And there is no running away from the natural human condition. Everyone stumbles through life, everyone faces difficulties, and there is no smooth chocolate way to success.
True.
So all this has to be communicated and the reality acceptance has to be brought in.
That
Uh,
is to do with the individual who is actually suffering. What should be the family members or caregivers or the society or the community from where the person is coming from? What are their roles to be played there, and how much of psychoeducation is required where we can help someone with this disorder?
uh, and, family members have to be very family members have to be involved very importantly because uh, they have to keep a control on the finances because gambling revolves around finances. So the person is going to get it from somewhere by hook or crook, and that has to be controlled. To the time somebody is occupied in a productive activity has to go up because the more the person is alone and has nothing to do, the more it takes to addiction. So a very healthy schedule has to be brought out, and family members have to help him enforce it. Third, holistic healing measure and support groups have to be found out, and family members have to help in finding that out. Fourth, what to report and not to report to the treating therapist. Both, if the patient and family members are psychoeducated, both can report better. And family members have to essentially, in this case, not only save themselves from secondary anger and secondary depression, but also save themselves from financial losses.
True, very true.
Because you don't know what this man is going to lose, and completely in secrecy, you not being aware about it. So the person should not have property in his name, have as little of cash as possible, as little of credit card limits as possible. All of this is very, very important. And then the family members also have to provide encouragement, at times even capital, to do something in a productive way, so that the person knows that through the hard work and productive way also certain things are possible. It is not that it is either gambling or there is no way out. So one needs an alternative way, even slow and hard, and encouragement to go on that route and do a lot of reality acceptance on that path. And family members have a very strong role to play in this particular disorder. So that is how both the patient education and family education both are very important for management of this disorder, along with the central line of treatment of psychotherapy and in some cases maybe even drugs.
So gambling disorder being one of its kinds in DSM-5, where not only your psychological health, your physical health, your family is at stake, but also your finances, which are directly at stake. That's so very important. Thank you so much, Mr. Himanshu Vaidya, for sharing your knowledge with us. We have covered today gambling disorder in...
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. I've stopped recording. Hang on.
Yeah.
We have covered today gambling disorder. In the subsequent videos, we will be covering other disorders from DSM-5 in the same way. Do watch our upcoming videos and do write to us. Namaste.